and then we will get going. Hello. Let's see if I can make this work. All right. All right, let's see.
My situation is he
let's see. I want to
waited as long as it took. Yeah. They will wait until they know that they didn't use you up of every resource.
We don't care about that. Shush. Let's see. I go here. No, that's not gonna work. Okay. All right, we're gonna get out of that, and we're gonna try something else. Ooh, looking pretty good. Oh, and here's this. All right, we're gonna try one more thing. Give me just a second, folks, and we will get this party started. Go here, and then
Test. Test.
See if I'll bring up my own account. Okay.
Cat.
Follow videos. Okay. Okay, so this doesn't show me that I'm live on my own account. Okay, well, all right, it was worth a shot. Don't know why that doesn't work, but it doesn't. Okay, it was worth a shot. Okay, one more thing. Okay, we'll just have to figure out where we're going to put this. We'll put this 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Soon I will have some kind of streaming software that will get all of this on one thing, and then I'll have all kinds of like fancy pop-ups and backward drops and whatever. But in the meantime, hello, I am Reverend Briana, and I'm an interfaith minister, Wiccan priest, and Reiki master. And this is Witchcrafting Live, where we talk about all of the things that we get super close. Oh, super snuggly. Right. Talk about
a cuddle talk.
It's a cuddle talk. All things witchy. Tonight is and plus puppets. Oh my gosh, that is my Briana puppet that Erin made for me at one point in time. If you haven't,
there we go.
There we go.
I was gonna give you love.
So you will see the Briana puppet come out in some videos where I'm talking about my my history, my childhood. You probably haven't seen the video, but it's over on TikTok, where I talk about my first festival that I ever attended called Pagan Spirit Gathering, and that was back in like 1994. And so she did this whole puppet show with me telling that story, and that was super fun. So here we are. It's Witchcrafting Live, and the intent for this live is to connect with people who are interested in witchcraft, the occult, and the paranormal, and to provide support and advice and guidance for people that might have questions, are new to the craft, and are looking for a safe space. I'm joined tonight by my student, Jolene. Jolene, thank you for being on the show with me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited.
Me too. It's
Yay!
super good to be here.
Yes, excellent. So I will get into in just a minute why it is that Jolene has joined me tonight. Like I said, she is my student. I'm taking her through a non-denominational exorcism course right now, where we talk about the techniques you need to know about psychic abilities and magic in order to hold space, banish a space, deal with spirits, etc. So, and I brought her here tonight because we're going to talk about a shared experience that we had in just a little bit. So, September's theme for the lives is magical theory. Okay, how does ritual work? How does magic work? How is it different from psychic abilities, and how to build your own framework for creating your own spells and rituals. And last week I talked about the fives, the five elements. We're talking about earth, water, fire, and air, as well as the divine making up the fifth element. So tonight we're going to be talking about intention setting and expanding that framework into the sevens. So
I'm trying to stay on camera,
right.
and then
Well, we got
look somewhat
right.
cute.
Like we got like three different things going on here. We got a YouTube laptop, we got a Facebook laptop, we got my cell phone over here for TikTok. Thank you for everyone who's joining and checking out my first live here on TikTok. I super appreciate you. So first of all, let me talk a little bit. Last week, one of my good friends asked me, he watched last week's live, and he said, why are you marketing to students, people that are interested or trying to learn about witchcraft, as opposed to people that really don't care about that stuff and just want somebody to solve their spiritual problems? And I said, well, I have a whole website for that. Like, I've got all my services over on animapraxis.com. If you need some paranormal, spiritual, witchy help, you can find stuff there. And he says to me, yeah, but like, what about people who want some kind of demonstration? What can you show people so that they can know and have confidence in your skills before they hire you? And I really had to sit with that. And as Jolene can attest, I've been like, what? I don't do parlor tricks for like the last week, thinking about what can I do for a demonstration, because I do tarot cards and I do talk to spirits, and I do have over 30 years of experience working with ritual, particularly in a Wiccan setting. But I don't like to do, like, I'm trying to figure out what I can do that's authentic to me, because I'm not selling tarot services, right? There's plenty of people out there that do tarot. I've got friends that do tarot. If you want a tarot reader, I can find you somebody to help you out with that. There's also a lot of people that do mediumship work, and seriously, I can help you find somebody if you want to just talk to your ancestors or just talk to the spirits. I can help you with that. So how am I different? Where am I coming in that's different from that? My skill set, because I have both work in the healing professional world as well as with the occult world, doing ritual and ceremony, I like to think of myself as the problem solver. So after you've gone and talked to the tarot reader and you've gone and talked to the mediums and you need someone to solve a problem, such as a haunting in your house, or maybe you have a haunted object, or maybe you have a spirit attachment, I'm the person that's going to help you get rid of that. I'm the person who's going to help resolve that for you. Okay. So I'm a problem solver when it comes to ritual ceremonies and spells. And so this is an opportunity then for me to talk about, part of the reason I have Jolene here is so we can talk about the shared experience, because I'm not sure how I would demonstrate banishing spirit. Like, I could do a demonstration of how I would banish a spirit maybe, or how I would do a ritual, but you'd be watching it going, well, how is this interesting and how can I know you did anything, right? So me and Jolene are going to talk about a little experience that we had. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay.
I'm super ready.
Okay. So, what was this, like 2 months ago?
Roughly.
So 2 months ago, Jolene had a friend who passed, and it was quite sudden and it was quite unexpected. And as she was kind of coming to terms with this new reality and dealing with some of that grief, we were talking about it, and I just sort of offered, hey, do you want to connect with your friend? We could do a spirit session. I can show you how that works for me, and we can, kind of see what happens. And we didn't expect the energy that was going to come through. No, it was completely unexpected.
It was completely unexpected because when you, I suppose I could hold
Yeah,
this.
you can hold that.
So
This was the first time that I've actually really been driven to talk to someone after they've passed. I had some sort of loose ends that were really meaningful to me that I wanted to tie up with her. And when Briana offered this, I took it thinking, oh, it's going to be awesome. Like, I'm going to be able to talk to her. She's going to hear me. It's going to be really validating. It's going to be a beautiful thing. And honestly, it was a beautiful thing. It really was, because it did give me the closure that I needed in the end. But it was not an expected outcome, if that makes sense.
Totally. So I'm coming into this thinking that here's my student. I want to do a demonstration, show you how this works, help you process with your grief and connect with the spirit, not knowing that the relationship from your perspective and the relationship from the perspective of the person who had recently crossed over
Mhm.
were maybe two very, very different things. And I was in a position where the spirit starts coming through, and I know it's the right spirit because you and your friend were like, that's totally her.
Yeah.
That's totally her. That's totally her attitude. That's
Yeah.
totally how she would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It totally was.
And she was kind of rude.
It was. Yeah.
She was not okay.
That is how I knew that it was totally her. Sorry. That's how I knew it was totally her, because you go into a session like that. I don't know. You think, you expect the best, maybe. You think the best, like it's going to be this loving, warm energy that's going to set everything right in your soul. And that's not how it came. She came across very much like, what the hell are you bothering me for?
Uh-oh.
More technical difficulties.
Sorry. I'm trying to see that there's, hey, Asmodeus, I see you on Facebook.
Hello.
And okay, so it's really hard to hear. Okay, let me.
Oh, maybe I should almost eat the microphone.
Well, no, the microphone goes into that one.
Oh.
I'm hooking this one up too.
Okay.
So we're gonna try this as Asmodeus. I see your comment. We're gonna see if we can figure this out. We have multiple things going on, but thank you for letting me know. This microphone goes to that computer. I'm pretty sure this is okay. Okay, and here's hoping that. Okay.
Well, anyways.
With
what I was saying, I'll just speak really loudly while we're trying to fix this issue. So basically, what ended up happening was the emotion that I thought was going to come through from her was not at all. It was more like, why are you bothering me? This is effed up. I don't want to talk to you.
Dude, I was like,
and I could tell Briana was awkward.
Okay. Oh, totally awkward.
Briana was awkward AF, and I could tell because you kept turning kind of like this.
Yeah, I was like, really? Like, is that? I was like, yeah, it was really, really awkward, and I felt really bad because I'm like, let's try this one more time. So I don't know if you have to do anything.
It's a pretty fancy microphone.
Snowball. Okay. So, hey, Asmodeus, if you're still watching on Facebook, see if you can hear me better with this thing. Hopefully, it's a plug and play situation. So we're talking about this because, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything.
You have to check something.
Okay, wait. On my computer. Okay. Okay, let's go to settings. Everyone bear with us.
So tell them they can go over to YouTube, right?
Asmodeus, you can go to YouTube.
Okay, good idea.
I'll put a link
Okay,
in the comments.
in the comments. Okay. You can go to YouTube. over at Rev Briana Lee. The sound over on YouTube should be better. Thank you everyone for bearing with us. This is like my second live. Oh,
That's good, actually.
Good on
Now
YouTube?
it's now we're good. Now
Alicia
it's-
can't hear anything either.
Aw.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Please, everyone, bear with me for just a second. Let me see if I can figure this out. Microphone. Let's see. Let's see. Real Tech. I want to go to the control panel, maybe.
Oh, actually, that was a thing from YouTube.
What was from
The
YouTube?
good sound.
The good sound is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna leave a comment right now. And
let's see, Bluetooth and devices. Okay, give me, let's see here. Where's system sound? Okay, bear with me, everyone on TikTok. Okay, hold on, everybody.
I'll put a link in the comments
On Facebook? Okay, great. Okay, let's try this over here. Oh, that's why we're doing this. Okay. Add a device. It's not Bluetooth, wireless, everything else. It's turned on, it's discoverable. Let me put this right back here.
So is it on TikTok that they can't hear? Or
No, this is Facebook.
Live?
Facebook, they
Okay.
can't hear me.
Okay.
And it's
and
looking.
YouTube sounds great.
YouTube sounds great. Okay, so, and this is looking for a device. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's better sound. This is like, okay. All right. Sorry everybody on Facebook for the lack of sound. Head over to YouTube. We're just gonna keep on rolling here because we got other stuff going on. So anyway, so here we are. We're in the session. I'm in the middle of like, there's this spirit over here that's like clearly not happy about having been summoned and clearly didn't want to be there. Clearly thought it would, like, the whole thing was not okay. And and I'm trying to be like
I hope that's-
sensitive.
Yes.
It's not picking up.
It's
at
not
all.
picking at all.
So
Okay. We're just gonna
remove
take
it.
this out.
It'll be a little quiet on Facebook.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
at least they'll be able to
Okay. Okay.
And so
I can't hear
Here,
you.
let's get this out of my face.
okay.
Let's just move that out the way then.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, still can't hear me? What is going on? Okay. That is very strange. Okay. All right. Well, sorry everybody on Facebook. I'm gonna write you guys a comment. Sorry, everyone. I don't know what to do to YouTube for the live. Okay. Oh, that's not right.
That's Vodia saw the comment.
Okay.
So I think everybody should be able to see the head over there.
Okay. Okay. So what kind of ended up happening was we just kind of got through it, right? Like you asked some questions.
There were tears
There were some
on my part.
Because I don't think you really got the answer you really were looking for.
No, of course I didn't.
You know, there was
Yeah.
this sort of like, I don't really, like, why are we talking about this? Kind of like, is this really what you summoned me for?
Yes, she was absolutely stunned. Can I swear on here? Can I use the B
Yeah,
word?
just look here.
Nobody can hear anything.
Okay,
here,
so we're shutting down. Are we shutting down
I'm
Facebook?
gonna look on your computer here. Just
Okay.
ignore me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We gotta leave this here so that at least TikTok can see us.
Okay. sorry, where did I leave off? Distracted by the technical difficulties.
We were in tears. There was some
Yeah, so I
tears.
was in tears, you know, because I mean, yeah, she was my friend, but she was very rude.
Yeah, very rude.
And not at all concerned with what I wanted closure on. Not at all concerned.
Yeah, not at all. And so we've had multiple conversations about this since then. And part of like when people ask me for like demonstrations of what can you do, I think of situations like this where I'm like, there's been a number of times where we've tried to contact a spirit, or I've tried to do a reading for somebody and something negative has come up, and because I know I've unintentionally hurt people's feelings with just even exposing people's secrets or things they weren't ready to learn or hear. I try to be very sensitive to the whole everything about it. And you know, so it was really kind of shocking for me. It's like, I don't think you guys are friends the way you thought maybe you were friends. And
that's what I learned.
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Because I got my closure one way or another, and that was the way that I got my closure. And I'm okay with it. I mean, I accept it. Now that I know where she was coming from, I mean,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not the easiest when you find out after death that someone meant more to you than
you did to
them.
Yeah, that was rough. And I felt really bad. I was like, I'm kind of in the middle and I'm trying to like relay this message, and like so
I felt bad for you. Like in retrospect, I definitely feel for you, because I wouldn't want to be like, yeah. Like, these bitches want to talk to me? What?
Right? Yeah, that was totally the energy, to be honest. And so, talking about intention setting, if we're going to be talking to the spirits and opening ourselves up to these things, we have to be prepared for the unexpected, right? So, I do my best to be very, very intentional with how and why I engage in these things. You know, so oftentimes, like if people are looking for a tarot reading or looking for some kind of spirit session, I'm not into gallery style stuff, because I'm like, I don't know what's going to come up. And if something happens that you end up I learned something about you or your relationship that makes people uncomfortable, I don't need the whole room knowing that, you know, like
stuff comes out that you
stuff comes out and you're like, I hope you were ready for everyone to know that, because I didn't know that was coming. I had an experience one time where when I was younger and I was starting to tell people about what my gifts were, like one of the things I can do is I'm something of a medical intuitive. So I can see where people's issues are in their bodies. And I had somebody who was really excited about this. It's like, I want you to read me. What do you see? Blah, 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 blah. And we were in this sort of little party situation. And she's like, well, you know, what do you see on this person? And what do you see on that person? And one of the people in the party was like, I'm not about this. I don't like this. I don't want you to read me. And I was like, she doesn't want me to read her. And I got kind of like goaded into it. And I was like, well, I'm picking up X, Y, and Z. And she's like, no, that's not right. That's not correct. That you're totally wrong. You're wrong. Well, as I later got to know this lady and learned some stuff about her personally, she actually had an injury that was exactly where I said it was. And she was embarrassed about it and shameful about it and didn't want everyone to know that she had this issue with her body. And in that moment, I felt terrible. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't, like, yeah, I exposed your secret, and you didn't want that, and you weren't ready for that, and who am I to do that to you, you know? So that really set the tone for me for like when it comes to even talking about what I can do or what I can see. Like, I'm very, very private about it. And I'm like, if we're one-on-one and it's private and we can have a conversation, it's fine. But if it's like in a group setting, like I'm not, if there's multiple people involved, like I'm not about that. And then
How long ago was the situation with the injuries?
for that lady, that reading that I did on her was like 15 years ago.
Okay.
You know, so that was
Because I was going to say I could never picture you doing something like that.
yeah.
now.
In fact, I think it was almost 20 years ago now when that happened. Because I was like 26, 27,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Because I could picture you now just being like, what?
Yeah, no. When I was younger, I didn't know how to say no. No, I'm like, everybody's blocked. No, it's my favorite word. No. And the last thing that I want to say about intention when it comes to diving into things like the paranormal and the spirit world and your mediumship abilities. So I myself I grew up around psychics and mediums, and okay, I grew up around psychics and mediums, and it was always these middle-aged ladies who wanted to come up to me and be like, oh, I'm just gonna scan your aura and tell you all about yourself. And I always felt really, really violated by this, and I was too young to know what boundaries were or how to express that I felt violated or tell them that that was inappropriate. So I'm basically at this point in my life where I'm like I don't have my abilities running, like I don't do anything or look for anything or see anything unless I've been asked specifically. And this goes for things like ritual as well, because I was on a investigation over at a Masonic lodge, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's coming soon. We have a little spoof video of this particular investigation, and I was actually interviewed on the radio by one of the folks who was on this investigation with me. And what happened was everybody started getting sick and like nauseous, dizzy. A bunch of people left. I ended up getting a headache, and then I got what I call the spirit shakes. And I'm like, it's like I'm shivering, like it's like 30 below, and I'm like shaking uncontrollably. And I had gone to this event just with the intention of observing. Like they said it was a safe place. They had investigated there before, so that it shouldn't be anything weird. So I just kind of wanted to see how these people ran this investigation. You're just gonna end it?
Yeah, I can't
Can't figure out. For Facebook, let me just make
Type it in.
yeah, let me leave a comment for Facebook.
Shut that down.
Being the live here because of sound issues. Come on over to YouTube. Okay. Okay. So of course we're having, with it being the second one, we're having technical issues tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Of course we are. Of course. Of course.
You sound great on YouTube.
Okay, great.
You
Fantastic.
look great too.
Yay.
Yeah,
Oh, we're doing
fantastic.
great. So my thing about this Masonic lodge is, again, I went in just thinking I'm going to observe, I'm just going to check it out. I did come prepared with a few things in case I needed to do a serious banishing, but I was affected so deeply. Like I had the spirit shakes for like 20 minutes, and the host had to was like sitting with me waiting for it to pass. And I had this moment where I'm like, am I going to do a ritual? Am I going to do a banishing? Am I going to do a healing? No matter how I sliced it, I needed a minute to regroup and shield myself and try to, figure out like what was happening, what was wrong, like and what was I going to do? Because I almost never jump to conclusions. I never go in guns blazing. I always want to take a minute. What are you doing?
Should I move this?
No, you can leave that there because I need to prop this on something. I almost never go in guns blazing anywhere. Like, I always want to take my time to thoroughly think it through, thoroughly explore what's going on, and come up with some kind of game plan. I never go into anything just cold, and I feel like I maybe did that with you because I felt a little too comfortable and a little too safe, and I feel like I
What
should have
could
known better.
possibly go
What could
wrong?
possibly go wrong? So if you're gonna engage in this stuff, expect that stuff can and will go wrong, and you should just be prepared for that.
Can I make a little
Yeah, please do.
point? What
Yeah,
you
come
said
on.
about maintaining a beginner's mindset has really stuck with me, because it just goes to show that even when you're super experienced, when you can have a lifetime of experience with this and still go into something and be like, what the fuck just happened?
Right? Right? Exactly. Exactly. You just never know. So I am cautious. I take my time. When I work with clients, I really interview them and vet them. There were things after our experience together that I'm like, I kind of wish I had thought of to ask you, but I wasn't treating you like a client. I was treating you more like a friend,
Sure.
you
Of
know?
course. Yeah.
And so that's kind of my whole spiel. And this is all like, so first of all, part of the reason I wanted to do the lives was because you had said to me how mean people were, and in like the chat rooms and stuff that you were in, trying to get questions asked about witchcraft and stuff.
Oh, yes.
You remember that? Yeah. So
Yes.
this is meant to be a safe space to ask questions, and sage that ish. Yes. And a safe space to ask questions, share stories, and know that you're not going to be judged for your questions. And also lay down some framework so that people can kind of understand like how some witchcraft works, and how it's, how psychic abilities work, and mediumship works. And so opening tonight, as we're kind of going through some of these like technical difficulties, this is like, now we're getting into the meat of the program now. So thank you for bearing with me. If you guys have any questions about any of those stories, please feel free to ask them. So this is all to talk about intention setting, right? Looking at, why are you doing what you're doing? What is your motivation? What is it that you're hoping for? What is it that you want to get out of it? Because like we illustrated with all these stories, things can and will go wrong. Things can come up that you didn't expect, and you have to be ready and prepared for that. And there's certain things, like, part of the reason I didn't just be like, hey Jolene, here, you can try this and DIY it yourself with your friend, is because I was like, I didn't want you to be in a situation where suddenly you're like in over your head or something. And so looking at, what's your motivation? Why
I
are you
appreciate
interested?
that,
Yeah.
by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome. For me, witchcraft has been, and psychic abilities and mediumship and all the esoteric occult stuff has been a part of my life my whole life. I've posted some videos about my dad. Speedo Dad just went up today, if you didn't get to see that.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see it.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good.
Fabulous.
And so for me, it's like, it's a part of who I am. I can't help it. I can't not be engaged with the spirit world. I can't not be engaged with witchcraft. I can't not be engaged with that community. Like, I'm personally at a point in my life where I'm like, I don't fit in with regular people anymore. So that, for me, the motivation to be here in this space and to share what I've learned over my life is because I'm like, what am I going to do? Sit in an office?
Get in the zone.
Get in the zone. Oh my God. I used to work for AutoZone.
I was just going to say, you worked for AutoZone.
I did. So, oh yeah, do we? Oh, oh, okay. All right. So we're talking about now the framework, like magical theory. We've talked about intention, we've talked about motivation, we've talked about things we've experienced. Now we're going to get into, okay, this is for you, this is a part of your life, this is something you want to engage in. All right. How do you create your own spells? How do you create your own rituals? It's like I see like, there's a lot of different books and resources out there, and everyone's got their own hot take, right? And that is something I just real quick, since people here on TikTok didn't catch last week's show, is that everyone's got their own hot take. Okay, witchcraft is a recipe. Okay, it is a series of formulas designed to have a certain effect. And there are people who are traditionalists who will say these recipes work because they've been handed down again and again and again. There are people who are in closed practices who are like only people who've been initiated get to know what those recipes are. But at the end of the day, it's still soup, right? It's like all like, then there's a million ways to make soup. All right. So everyone's got their particular flavor. Everyone's got their thing that they think is the best way. For me, it comes down to the formula, no matter what kind of candles or herbs or whatever you use, the basic formula for magic. What are you doing?
Woo! And then we got really bright, and then we got really dark.
The basic formula when it comes to any kind of magical working, for me, after everything that I've read and studied and experienced, it's very simple. It's right thought, right action, right timing. Okay. So you can use that formula in any way you want, right? So right thought is like making sure that you're grounded and in alignment with your highest self. Making sure that your energy is clear and that you are fully present for the working that you're doing. Right action is like doing the right type of using the right type of tools, or doing the right kind of how do I want to say this? Oh, maybe I should drink some water. Do you need anything?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Right action
Oh.
is
Actually, please
Oh,
continue.
sure. Okay. Right action is using the right kind of tools, or the right, colors, or the right prayers. Because you don't necessarily want to use a banishing prayer for a manifestation ritual, right? So you're going to want to make sure that the tools that you're using and the actions or postures or prayers are in alignment with your thoughts and your intention. And then timing then has to do with things like seasonally. Like if you're doing a manifestation ritual, you're much more likely to have success around things like the waxing moon, or during like the spring and summer, because the fall time gets into things like harvest. So you should have already planted your seeds for the things that you want to manifest earlier in the year. Now, last week I was talking about the fives: earth, water, fire, air, and the divine. So using the fives, you can use them at any point in the year. The idea is that these are the basic elements that you need to create life. Okay, when you do a spell or a ritual or a working, you want all of the elements that you would need to create that thing. So earth is like the container, air is like the thought, fire is the spirit or the energy of the thing. Water could be the memory or the movement or the healing, and the divine is what brings it all together to create that spark of life, right? So today I want to talk about the sevens, and seven historically has been a very potent magical number, it being like the 3 and the 4, right? The 3 being like the spiritual trinity, and the 4 representing physical matter. So it's considered the perfect number for the joining of spirit and matter. And I'm just checking to make sure. And so going deeper into the sevens, like, and the sevens have been on my mind like a lot, because I did a ceremony back like 2 years ago when my brother crossed over, where I called upon the 7 classical planets to act as the gateway to help the gates to help my brother cross over. And ever since then, the sevens have been following me around. Like, I've always been a 5 person. My birthday's May 5th. My name adds up to 5. So it's like 3 5s, right? 555. But since I did this ritual for a crossing with my brother, the sevens have been following me around everywhere. And that could be that my brother's trying to signal me that he's around. It could be the energy of the sevens itself. There's something very mystical, and they have their own energy, their own personality. I don't know how to explain it, but if you're somebody that watches numbers and pays attention to the repetitions, these numbers aren't just like the codes that come up on your clock. Who's that? So I'm like, somebody's commenting on, is that you, Aaron? Did you just comment as me on YouTube? Right? The 7 is a jackpot. Yeah, okay. 7. It's like, as Aaron's saying on YouTube, 7s represent the jackpot, right? So, but we also have 7 days of the week, right? And I really wanted to be fancy and have like a whole thing, but the best I could do was a bunch of scribbles. So I wanted to be like, see, that's as far as I got. It's par for the course for today. You know, we had technical issues, like poor Facebook can't even get on. So if you want to expand from the 5 elements, so the 5 elements are cool because it's like you can use them anytime for pretty much any purpose, any time of year. The 7, working with 7s just sort of starts to deepen your knowledge and your understanding, and it starts to really kind of break down into like really getting into that sort of divine timing aspect of things, because the days of the week are named after deities, which represent planets from classical literature. So, for example, Monday is the moon. Tuesday. Now, here's the weird thing about our days, though, is that like they're based on the Greco-Roman pantheon, but we also have a Germanic influence. So, like for Tuesday, the Greco-Roman equivalent is Mars, but the Nordic equivalent is Tyr. So Tuesday is actually based on the Nordic god Tyr, as opposed to, but he's also represents Mars. He's got Mars energy. Wednesday is for Woden or Odin out of Nordic mythology, but is also Mercury in the Nordic or the Greco-Roman tradition. Thursday is Thor's Day, which Thor also represents Jupiter from Greco-Roman, which is also, or I'm sorry, from the planetary system, which is also Zeus. Friday is Frigg, or Frigg's Day, and Frigg was the Nordic equivalent of Aphrodite or Venus. And Saturn is interesting because there's not a Nordic equivalent for Saturn. So it's understood to be Saturn in both systems, but Saturn is also Kronos, and Kronos represents time. And so finally we come to Sunday, which is the day of the sun, which is also Sol in Nordic tradition. And what's interesting is that in a lot of traditions, Sunday is the day that you worship like for Christianity is the day that you worship the Lord. It's God's day. So this kind of gives us a hint that in Christianity, at least once upon a time, we all worship the sun. And my friend asked, and Uranus. So back before they had telescopes, they couldn't see Uranus. So it's not included as a part of the traditional 7 planets. So back in historical times when they were first coming up with astrology and astronomy, the observable planets, there were 7 of them, and that was the moon, the sun, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, the sun. Anyway, so Uranus wouldn't have been included. Not that you can't now because we know that they're there, but if you're going to include Uranus, then you should also include Pluto. And that takes it up to 9, and that takes us to a whole entirely additional conversation about charting. And so going back to this charting, so I'm sorry again, I just scribbled it out because it's really all you got to do. Because like
works.
you might want to make it fancy and put it in your book of shadows. But what's cool about this is that when you get into this, then as you do start to chart it out, then you can look at things like what is the energy or the intention of of each of these, right? So like for the moon can represent dreams, it can represent illusions, it can represent tides, it can represent cycles. So for a spell that you want to maybe work with your dreams and get into lucid dreaming, you might consider doing it on Monday or Moon Day as you work with the moon, regardless of the phase that it's in. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So Tuesday being Mars Day, generally represents, so Mars is a god of war, which also means he's a god of strategy, he's a god of weaponry. So then if you have some kind of conflict where you want to win or work through, even in a competition sense, you might cast your spell on a Tuesday to work with Mars. Mercury, or Hermes or Odin, they are about business and trade and communication. So if you were looking to maybe do a spell about launching a business or increasing your business or doing something that involves some kind of trade, like even going to school, or maybe you have some kind of communication you need to have and you're having apprehension about it, doing a spell to help you speak clearly and confidently, you might consider doing it on a Wednesday for that spell. Jupiter, Zeus, and Thor are all about expansion, manifestation, wealth, and abundance. So if you're looking to increase your bank account, you might consider working with Jupiter on a Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
What day is it today?
It's Friday.
Okay, I've got a little less than a week.
Now, there are tons of grimoires out there that break it down even further, where you have like hours that are dedicated to each planet. So, I mean, you can keep breaking this down to get more and more and more and more specific. Yeah. And
like refine it.
Refine it. But you don't necessarily have to for your spells and your rituals to be effective. So that brings us to Friday, which is the day of Venus or Aphrodite, which is all about love, beauty, fertility, luxury, the finer things in life. So if you're looking to do some kind of love spell or beauty spell or glamour spell or something around luxury, you might want to consider doing it on a Friday, working with Venus.
I just wanted to point out that Marcus Aurelius himself is in your TikTok live. I just wanted to.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I just love that name. I'm sorry. I just love that name.
So then going on to like Saturn in Saturday is all about boundaries, karma, judgment, justice. So if you were going to do something that involved with the law, that involved the justice system, it talks about like karmic justice, you might want to consider doing it on a Saturday and work with Saturn. And what I love about the planetary system is that you don't necessarily have to be into the Greek pantheon to work with them. But what I do like about working with the Greek pantheon is that it takes these planets and gives them personalities that can be worked with, right? I'm also personally very much about Persephone. She's one of my primary goddesses. So this is sort of like, for me, especially recently, as I've been expanding from the fives into the sevens, it's like now I'm sort of working with my celestial family to do the spell work and the rituals that I want to do. And then finally, we come up to Sunday, which is the sun. And the sun is all about illumination and growth and warmth and renewal. And, but it can also be fire, it can be scorched earth, it can be the desert. So there's any number of ways to work with the sun and the heat of the sun, whether you want to work with the heat or the illumination. You can work with Helios. So if you're looking to illuminate a problem or bring light to something or make something grow, you might want to consider working with the sun or Helios on a Sunday. So, and you can keep breaking it down. Like we've got, so I broke this down and this, you could do this for your Book of Shadows, where you kind of chart this out for yourself. There's a bunch of different pantheons. So if you're not interested in the Greek pantheon or the Nordic pantheon, there's many other pantheons out there that you can find that can be related to these energies, if you want to work with them instead. What I would do from there is I would break it down into like, what element do they represent? Like the moon would be water, and some of these can represent two. Like Mars could be fire, it could be earth, it could be air, like, so going through and seeing what element they work with will also help determine like whether or not you want to do work on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Getting into some keywords and charting out what the keywords for each of these would be for you. What kind of action would you take? So when I think of action, I think of things like I've got a mudra or a particular hand motion or something like dancing or singing. Like what action can you take to raise your energy within your spell work? Then there's also prayers. What kind of prayers can you find? You can make something up. If you like to write, you can make up any kind of rhymey thing you want, or you can look for Psalms in the Bible, or you can look for prayers for each of these planets. I'm sure there are many out there. I actually have a book where I keep my selection of prayers of things that I like to use on a regular basis so that they're always kind of ready, because you can rinse and repeat like all the time. And then what kind of tool would you use? Like for a Monday dream spell, you might want to use moonstone as a part of your ritual. For a Tuesday cutting through conflict kind of spell, you might want to use an athame. For a Wednesday Mercury business ritual, you might want to use something like, it could be coins. But you could also use coins for Jupiter on Thursday. So I have action on here twice. And then I also have allies on this list as well, because I also like to work with animals. So what animals to you relate to each of these things? Because if you don't necessarily want to work with the god of that planet, you could work with an animal that to you relates to that. Orphic hymns are fun for that. Yes, Orphic hymns are great if you're looking for particular prayers for each of the gods or each of the planets. So I recommend charting it out for your spell book. Obviously I got more to do because I got so many things going on. I was like, this is close enough for the second live, but we're going to have technical difficulties anyway. Let's see what I got on my list here. And we are just about at 10 o'clock. So we're just about, I think we're getting ready to wrap this up. It's almost 10 p.m. So I just want to thank everyone for stopping in and stopping by. Thank you, Jolene, for coming tonight. Next week, hopefully, we will have all of the issues sorted out with the technicalities. Hopefully, we'll have StreamYard or something like that so we can get it all together all at once. I will also have a pre-recorded interview for part of the show. Next week's all about the cone of power, how to raise energy to put towards your spells and your rituals. And my guest is going to be my good friend Nerys, who is a tarot reader. And we're going to be talking about how the energy that we use in ritual, and particularly in Wicca, is generally sexual and gender binary in nature. So for them as a non-binary person, what does this mean for them in raising energy? So we're going to be talking about that a little bit next week. The cone of power, how to raise energy, different things you can do to put energy into your spells. Personally, I'm like, I don't do a lot of spell work. I tend to lean towards ritual and ceremony just because I take stuff so seriously. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all the way. But there's a lot of value in simple and easy spells, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit more next week as well. So now as we wrap this up, I'm going to just plug a couple things and then we'll sign off for tonight. I have started a new Patreon. It's called The Witch Priest. All right. And if you're interested in any kind of services, you can visit me at animapraxis.com. Links are in the description. Thank you. Thank you. And and if you would like to help support us so that we can have real technology, you're welcome to make a donation to Venmo or Cash App. I'd really like to pay my production partner for the awesome videos she's been making. So if you please consider contributing. And she's giving me the clapping. I'll wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us next week, 9 p.m. See you next week.
How many people watched on TikTok? I'm
I
curious.
have no idea. 579 viewers.
That's pretty. You got more views than 98% of live creators with a similar following. Have you ever had this many in a live before?
This is the first